So we received some pretty interesting news this morning that was first reported by Shams Charania that the Bulls are going to be converting the two-way deal of Onuralp Bitim to a standard multi-year deal, a guy who has played all but 6 NBA minutes this season. Now, we don't have the specifics of the multi-year deal, what the amount is, how long the contract is for, but for a guy who has barely seen any playing time and a player who still had games left on his two-way deal for which he could have played with the Bulls for the remainder of the season, it's not like they had to convert his contract because he'd already exceeded the total amount of games he could play at the NBA level. But by signing Bitim to this deal on a standard NBA contract, this now fills the Bulls' final roster spot, putting them at 15 players, which effectively takes them out of the buyout market. No Joe Harris, Marcus Morris, Evan Fournier, potentially even Killian Hayes. No, the roster is full now. Now, they could still sign another player to a two-way deal with Bitim's two-way deal roster spot now opening up, but just an odd move to decide to convert a player who has barely seen any time on the court to a standard NBA deal. Don't get me wrong, he's been putting up impressive numbers on the Windy City Bulls, and I've actually been wanting the Bulls to play him more, especially given how shorthanded they are right now, and he does provide shooting, but to me, I don't know, this just seems like a cheap deal move to keep them under the tax without bringing in someone off the buyout market and to just fill that final roster spot with one of their two-way players. Maybe they've been seeing something recently in practice with Bitim that has them excited about his future potential and fitting with this roster not only for this season but next season as well, and they wanted to get him on a cheap contract and locked into the future before his value would go up. But I don't know, man, this just seems like a stretch. I'll be curious to see if he's actually going to start getting some playing time now that he has a full-time roster spot and the Bulls are still without Patrick Williams and Torrey Craig. But even with the Bulls being shorthanded, I really can't see him cracking the rotation over guys like Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry, or even Javon Carter for that matter. And does this really help with the Bulls and their overall playoff push? No, not really. The only thing I can think of is they knew they weren't going to be getting any of the buyout candidates that they had wanted, either because those guys didn't want to join the Bulls, or the ones that they thought were going to be bought out are actually going to be remaining on their current team. They were looking around and saying, well, we've got one more roster spot. We've got these two-way guys who won't be eligible to play in the playoffs if we make it there. I guess we might as well sign one of them so they can actually be available come playoff time. But even then, they're not going to crack the rotation. I don't know, this just seems like a very odd move to me, very confusing. But then again, a lot of things this front office has been doing lately is very confusing. Anyway, just wanted to share my quick thoughts on this breaking news. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.